Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you, depending where you are in the world. Sabbath blessings, one and all. It is Friday night here in London. I'm live and direct, and it is Sabbath. Sabbath starts sunset Friday night. Friday is not biblical, it's actually called Preparation Day, and the day leads on to Sabbath, we now commonly call Saturday. Doing a nighttime devotion from the devotional Conflict in Courage by Ellen White. The title today, Passing the Torch. 2 Timothy 4, verses 1 and 2. Why is it whenever I go live, I get an itchy nose? I charge thee therefore before God and the Lord Jesus the Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all longsuffering and doctrine. In his last letter to Timothy, Paul held up before the younger worker a high ideal, pointing out the duties devolving on him as a minister of the Christ. Paul bids him preach the word, not the sayings and the customs of men, to be ready to witness for God whenever opportunity should present itself, before large congregations and private circles, by the way and at the fireside, to friends and to enemies, whether in safety or exposed to hardship and peril, reproach and loss. Fearing that Timothy's mild, yielding disposition might lead him to shun an essential part of his work, Paul exhorted him to be faithful in reproving sin and even to rebuke with sharpness those who were guilty of gross evils. Yet he was to do this with all long suffering and doctrine. He was to reveal the patience and the love of Christ. To hate and reprove sin at the same time to show pity and tenderness for the sinner is a difficult attainment. The more earnest our own efforts to attain to holiness of heart and life, the more acute will be our perception of sin, and the more decided our disapproval of any deviation from the right. We must guard against undue severity toward the wrongdoer, but we must also be careful not to lose sight of the exceeding sinfulness of sin. There is need of showing Christ-like patience and love for the erring one, but there is also danger of showing so great tolerance for his error that he will look upon himself as undeserving of reproof. With the growing contempt for God's law, there's an increasing distaste for religion, an increase of pride, love of pleasure, disobedience to parents, and self-indulgence, and thoughtful minds everywhere are anxiously inquiring. What can be done to correct these alarming evils? The answer is found in Paul's exhortation to Timothy: preach the word. The answer is found in Paul's exhortation to Timothy: preach the word. In the Bible are found the only safe principles of action. It is a transcript of the will of God, an expression of divine wisdom. Preach the word. Passing the torch. So this is Paul teaching Timothy and passing on the torch, as in the mantle, just as Elijah did to Elisha, to carry on the work. And in all things, You must have humility. You must be patient, tender, and although be sharp, be loving. The answer is found in Paul's exhortation to Timothy, preach the word. But to preach the word isn't just about knowing the word, it's about being the word. When I say being the word, it's about being the love that Christ showed, the love that God is. Having the compassion that Christ had and showed, the love, the care, the sympathy, the empathy, humility. Something that we very much lack most of the time. Preach the word. I suppose before you can preach the word, you have to live it. And that's where we all fall down, isn't it? So, Sabbath blessings, one and all. Enjoy Sabbath. See you on the other side.